perpetual perseverance. I think I would say that. So when they used to ask me, what happens when this won't happen? I said, so what? There would be always a new thing to do. What happens if you can't raise this money? I said, no problem. Right now running on customers' money. I'll go to the customer and tell them that give me more money in advance. I actually got money in advance, by the way, from a customer. I want to tell you guys. Uh, I mean,
From a telco?
believe me, Sanjay Nanjrajog and Sanjay Baveja in Airtel Delhi, they gave me an advance check of 5 lakh rupees. When they heard my story, they heard the pitch, and they gave me the 5 lakh rupees in advance after learning. But that advance was against my outstanding. LOL. Joke finished. Because it was my outstanding which they gave me in advance, if you notice. But that's it. I think the customers, if you're doing a good job to the customer, if you are part of their ecosystem, if you are in spirit belonging to their purpose, they want you to be successful. I think they want you to exist. So what I know is that there was a clear understanding, at least the chemistry that we had with our customer, that they wanted us to succeed and remain. And I used to be very candid about it, that I don't have money. I can't do much about it. If you give me some money, I can buy 10 more servers and place in your place. I mean, and this is a CapEx heavy business. So customers gave it. And when the investors meeting were happening, they were bothered about the team. Who's your team member? Tell me your finance guy. And I had like sincere normal people who were not somebody extraordinary in that sense. So they said, what is your point of view about your team? I said, I can see that you're looking them as ordinary people. And that is exactly what extraordinary about them is, because they have an ordinary inside them. And that truly is the reason that they are extraordinary and they are achieving it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And if they were
absolutely.
extras, if they were been there, done that, they wouldn't have pulled up as much that I can see them doing it. I'm a firm believer in a team which is hungry to achieve, and only that team which has not achieved will be hungry to achieve. Those who've been there and done that, all the excitement is done for. So I believe in underdog team which didn't work out, or people who failed earlier, people who couldn't make it to a big story earlier, and that kind of people. So bringing that as a thesis, I found out my investors trusted, supported. I raised in 2007. I raised second round in 2008. In fact, 2008 was at a November 2008. Remember that time when this Lehman Brothers was upside down, November? So I raised my second round in November of 2008. When people were not raising money, luckily, as God would allow us to, we got second round of funding. And then 2010, which is the year where we even went on to try an IPO because we were generating 100 crore of profit. So now this is another I would say stroke of luck, that 4 years back, you worried about cash flow. In 4 years, you're 20 times and generating 100 crore of EBITDA. So which became like a rocket, I would say that.
No, so from there, to still have the hunger and to say that I should now get into a new thing, which was Paytm, what resulted into that?
I think all of us have a understanding of our
the,
life.
the reason why I ask you is that, you know, I've seen with a lot of mid-sized companies that they reach that level of 50 crores, 100 crores, 200 crores, but then they remain at that level. So what is it that fired you up? What is it that resulted into taking that next leap of faith?
I was lucky enough to be born in a family where there was nothing. So for me, 100 was amazing. For me, 1 was amazing. And for me, 1,000 is not amazing, because it's just number, right? And one point of time in your life, you realize money is as much worth as you can do something out of it. When you will not be in this world, you won't be remembered for the money you created. You truly will be remembered for the impact you created, the opportunities you created, number of people whom you influenced, number of people who respected for what you did. And I had this conference in Hong Kong. This was October of 2010, and I was sitting in an audience, and on the stage was Jack Ma of Alibaba. I sitting there was talking about numbers. I mean, for all of us who didn't have money, 100 crore profit is pretty decent, no doubt about it. And this gentleman on the stage was sharing how he believes that Alibaba is changing China in the world platform. How Alibaba and Taobao and Alipay are creating what platform country needs. And that day, probably I went through this trance movement when whatever we had done sounded so small in front of the big purpose of what can you do for this country? What can you do for the countrymen and fellow people who come from, who you are one of? And I moved immediately in that year, a clear reset in my mind that whatever we've done is so less in front of what we can do because we can create an incredible opportunity. There is an onus on our shoulder to create an opportunity for those who do not have access to this technology and mobility, but they can leverage this to bring better life to them and their families. I earlier used to believe these are cliched words, but I saw them happening and seeing through me and piercing through me. I want to tell you, when I went to the board and I said that we will create a Taobao and we'll create a Alipay for this country, they were totally confused for a company which is building technology platforms and generating cash, why would they want to be this? And I said that I don't think 100 becoming 1,000 will excite me more. What will excite me is how many million people in this country love us for what we offer them, and how many million enterprises love us for what we can offer them. And that stage comes once you have crossed this minimum hygiene money level. I personally don't think anybody with more money will have different kind of tea. Every one of us had the same tea. We'll read different kind of newspaper. Every one of us read same newspaper. We'll wear different kind of clothes. Everyone is same. I think we once you neutralize and normalize that level, after that only one thing matters: what's the impact that you're driving. And I think that can only be the reason to drive it forward.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So, what role did technology play? One is, of course, technology is your centerpiece
Business,
of your
yeah,
business.
correct.
But in terms of enabling your own business, what role did technology play?
So you must eat your own dog food. So I gave my business card to a gentleman here, and he said, there's no landline here, because we believe that everything has to be on the mobile. Everything has to be done using mobile, messengers, emails, our emails are in the cloud, and so on. So first of all, inherently inside DNA, we are a technology company ourselves. Our product is what we want to use. Our offering is what we believe it should be. So once you are the customer of your own product, you can bring an incredible amount of capability in this. Once you yourself can see it from a customer's eye for what it is, there is a no going back to the feature it will need. So when we built Paytm was built for myself, literally. I mean, our team wanted to have it. There used to be internet destinations where you could go recharge and get the pay bill and so on and so forth. And the smartphone is what we had in our hands. And we were like, why don't we have this on the smartphone now? Because internet works out, but smartphone is what we want. We are using ourselves. So we started by building a smartphone app platform, and then we went to the next level of building many more enterprises on this. So today we have like tens of thousands of people selling on Paytm and consumers buying large number of things. Inherently, it wouldn't have been possible if our product manager, our business manager, our operations managers themselves are not the technology customers. So technology, I would say, this very product called mobile and the second product called cloud. Mobile and cloud is a lethal combination. I mean, it is getting to Internet of Things and so on, but this is like a center pivot point for our business.
Wonderful. And what next? That's my last question to you.
$10 billion in next 3 years.
$10 billion?
$10 billion.
Wish you all the success for
Thank
that.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Vijay Shekhar Sharma.
Thank you. Is there a question that you want?
Thank you so much, PG and Vijay. Can I invite Mr. Prateek Pashine, President of Tata Docomo Business Services, to hand over the memento to Mr. Pradeep Gupta and Mr. Vijay Shekhar. And if there are one or two questions, we can take those questions. Rarely do you find speakers volunteering to take questions, but if there are one or two questions, we can take them maybe. Could we have the mic for these two people, please? Very quick questions.
Vijay, hi, Uplift this side from Cyber Media Research. Very engaging session. I wanted to know, when you identify something like Paytm, how do you zero down on a business opportunity? Because, you know, when I spoke to you before the session started, 10 years back, I could never imagine making money out of an application called Paytm. The marketplace might have moved from the brick and mortar model to the online model. But what you do is completely different from what we have ever experienced. How do you zero on an idea is what I want to know.
I think in my belief, in my theory of businesses, I was sharing with Ibrahim a while back. I have a very simple matrix. Remember way back in 1970s, there used to be chip makers, IC, Intel, ARM, and so on. 1978 was a key year for Intel. The user of that is the next business that you would get into. For example, like in 80s, this was the era of creating personal computers using those chips. So 82 was a classic year when Macintosh got launched or IBM PC got launched. So people who were building next opportunity were using chips. The next opportunity after 82 was people who were building something that these PCs will use. It was operating system. That is why Microsoft, OS2, and so on, business model came in. And then when you move next, what applications these companies and businesses that will use this operating system, that is how Oracle, Adobe came up, and so forth. So if we just parallel this event into telecom, the bottom is a gear maker. So gear makers are being utilized by telcos. Telcos device, apps and services. It's very linear. And when you move up in the value, it's a value and wealth creation. When you go down, it is like free cash flow. So your company at the bottom is valued for free cash. Your company at the top is valued for what it can impact. So at a mathematics level or business level, it's very straight again. Your long-term customer value should be more than the cost that you have. It's a simple business model. Our belief was if a customer is coming 2 or 3 times to recharge, there is always something that he can buy from us and will buy something more from us. So even if we spent $1 to acquire this customer in longer period, meaning 6 months, 12 months, he'll give us more than $1. So it's a very linear mathematics. So both, one plus the theory that it will go in the apps, and in the app, it has to be LTV. Simple math.
Thank you, Vijay. I think there is one more question, and after that, we'll sort of close
Yeah,
this.
hi.
Hi. All right. My name is Hemant. And I'm from eHorizons. I do almost the same kind of applications which 197 does. I mean, voice-based software solutions for OBD and IWare and all that. So my question to you is that how do you see this, voice-based software solutions compared to app business next 3 years or next 5 years?
Got it. So it's a very simple question again. If you see the paradigms change. I mean, radio, TV, so print, radio, TV, internet, mobile.